Hello and welcome to Podcast Bites by IndiaLaw LLP. I am Aayush Pol and today we'll be discussing a major amendment that simplified land use conversion and streamlined approvals under Maharashtra law. If you have ever dealt with land in Maharashtra, you know one pain point, NA permission, a slow, bureaucratic, repetitive process that delayed construction, blocked financing and added zero real value. Now here's the shift. In 2025, Maharashtra changed the system fundamentally, not tweaked it, rebuilt it, and most people still don't fully understand what's changed. Let's break it down properly. First basics, any permission or non-agriculture permission was mandatory when you wanted to use agricultural land for anything else, residential, commercial, industrial. Under the Maharashtra Land Revenue Code 1966, you had to go to the collector and get approval before doing anything, even if your land was already inside development plan. Even if the planning authority approved your building, you still had to get separate NA clearance. That's duplication, not regulation. You were essentially asking two different authorities for the permission to do the same thing. And on top of that, you had annual NA tax, separate sanad requirements, manual mutation updates, and banks refused loans without any proof. If you look closely at earlier system, a key issue becomes clear. Even when development plan already permitted a specific land use, a separate approval from the collector was still required. This created additional layer in the process. As a result, timeline often became longer, cost increased, and applications had to navigate multiple authorities for essentially the same outcome. So the concern wasn't just about delay, it was about overlapping procedures that could have been streamlined. Now the important part, the Maharashtra Land Revenue Code was amended in 2025, and the biggest shift is that you no longer need separate NA permission from the collector. If your land is already permitted under the development plan or regional plan, that's it. The planning authority's approval itself is enough. Once your building plan is approved, your land is effectively treated as non-agricultural automatically. This is clearly stated under substituted section 42. Also, the entire framework of section 42A, 42B, 42C, 42D and others have been removed. It signals something important. This isn't a minor adjustment, it's a fundamental change in how the system operates. Now here's where most people misunderstand the reform. They think NA is gone. It's not. The method of charging has changed. Earlier you paid a recurring annual NA tax. Now you pay a one-time conversion premium based on the land value. Tiered system, up to 1000 square meter, 1% of the current market value. Up to 1000 to 4000 square meters, 0.25% of the current market value. Above 4000 square meters, 0.5% of the current market value. So the government didn't remove the revenue, it changed the timing and structure from recurring extraction to upfront clarity. Now the operational change. This is where the reform becomes practical. Earlier you had to manually update the land records, follow up the mutation, deal with multiple departments. Now, once the development permission is granted, revenue records like 712 are updated automatically. No separate applications. Also, applications are now processed through digital platforms like BPMS and Auto DCR. This removes physical access dependency and reduces human interference. And one more critical change, banks are now instructed not to demand any sanad, so financing becomes smoother. That's huge because earlier, even after approvals, projects got stuck at funding stage. Now the bottleneck is removed. Let's head to head compare the old and new laws. Old system, two approvals were needed from collector plus planning authority, annual tax, separate sanad, mutation updates, loan delays. New system, single approval from the planning authority, one-time premium, no sanad, automatic mutation, faster financing. Now here's the part people get wrong. They think regulation is gone. It's not. Zoning laws still apply. Environmental rules still apply. Development control regulations still apply. What's gone is duplication. The system is now planning driven instead of revenue driven. That's a big conceptual shift. So here's the bottom line. Any permission isn't exactly abolished. It's absorbed into planning system. The role has changed from the collector to the planning authority. Processes are fewer, timelines are shorter, costs are more predictable, and if implemented properly, this can significantly reduce project delays across the state. Its success now rests on how it is carried out on the ground. The framework is in place, and the outcome will follow from its implementation. Thank you for tuning into the Podcast Bites by IndiaLaw LLP. I am Aayush Pol, and I look forward to bringing you more insights on important legal, statutory, and regulatory developments shaping India's legal landscape. Until next time, thank you for listening.